Hello, my VCA art students. This is lesson number 1 from our distance learning partnership effort. And this lesson is specifically geared toward my 3rd through 6th graders, but any of y'all are welcome to try it, and I can't wait to see what you do. I want to start out greeting like we usually do. I've been thinking about a word for you all. My encouraging word for you has to do with what we're all experiencing right now. I know that school doesn't look the same as it normally does, and things are a little bit up in the air and maybe a little bit different than we're used to. And you all are having to do a lot of trusting. You are trusting your parents, you're trusting your teachers, you're trusting your country's leaders, and ultimately we're all trusting God right now. So I am going to say, hello, my most trusting art students, and I hope that you're greeting me with an encouraging word that you're thinking of for me too. This is our project today. This is all about perspective. This kind of perspective is called one-point perspective, and I thought it was very appropriate because perspective means the way you look at things, the way you see things. And right now, we're having a new perspective on life, so I thought we'd have a new perspective on art. One-point perspective means that everything that you are looking at goes to one point on the paper, and you can probably see right here, right on our horizon line, is what we call the vanishing point. That's where everything disappears. So I'm going to teach you how to draw in one-point perspective, and I have some really fun, cool projects lined up for you. This first one is a cool road. So here's what you need. We're keeping it simple. I'm just using computer paper, like printer paper, and a ruler, because we need to draw some straight lines. Pencil, some kind of a marker, maybe a permanent pen, eraser, and then I used Crayola crayons. Also, don't forget that you need to have a smooth surface. So if your table's like mine, where it's rough and has bumps on it, find a large book that your parents say it's okay to use for a smooth surface, or a clipboard, or a placemat, like a plastic placemat would work well too. So I think I won't put the finished one on there because we're done with that one. All right, here's our first step. Hopefully my other camera can pick this up. What I want you to do is divide your paper into 4 quarters. And we're going to do a little practicing in 3 of the quarters, 4th one for extra points if you feel up to it. Okay, let's load our new paper in here. Using your ruler and just kind of guesstimating, you don't need to measure. We're going to find the middle of the page both ways so that we have 4 quarters. In the first quarter, we're going to draw our horizon line close to the top. The second quarter is going to have our horizon line in the middle of that rectangle that we created. And in the third quarter, we're going to put our horizon line closer to the bottom. All right, here's where we really get into the one-point perspective. We're starting by putting our vanishing point right on our horizon, right in the center. And now with our ruler, we're going to go draw a line from the vanishing point to the bottom corners of our little rectangle. I'm going to have to unclip. All right, lining up my ruler from the dot to the corner of my page. It's okay if it's not exactly on there. Now, let me remind you that if you draw lightly, you can always erase it later. All right, the third line that we need after we have our 2 diagonal lines is a straight line down from the vanishing point to the bottom center line. And I didn't measure, I just eyed it. You can measure both sides if you want to get really, really accurate, but I don't think it's that important. All right, now that you have this kind of a 3-line triangle going on here, we're going to divide this distance into several sections. And it's not really important what size the sections are. I'm going to do it this way so I can see them. But what is important is they have to get a little closer together as they get farther away. And again, these lines want to be really light. We're going to get rid of them later. So I'm drawing one large section, then just slightly smaller each time. And I'm just eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be perfect. All the way to our vanishing point. Probably want to have about 8 sections or so. I think I just drew a few more. You can get less sections by making this first one taller. The more you have, the more wiggly your road is going to be. This is how we're going to be getting these curves. All right, starting from the center, I'm going to turn my page. We're going to be drawing a curved line from the center to the next line, to the next line in the center, to the next line on the edge, and it's going to curve right around the point where these two lines converge. Now I'm going on to the next line, and I want to kind of curve it to the next line, curve. Anybody remember which kind of line this is? Okay, now we're going to do the same thing from this side, and we want to kind of follow the curves we created over here by starting at the edge and coming to the middle and then back to the edge. So basically this is like a zigzag line, except we're curving it instead of having angles at each zigzag. And then we meet at the vanishing point, and there is your road. And then of course we'll come in here with our eraser and we'll get rid of all of these extras. Hopefully now you realize how lightly you needed to have drawn. Okay, now for our vanishing point, or our horizon, I mean in the middle, it's the same thing. Draw your lines to the corners. And straight down. The only difference here is we don't have as much room to make our sections, but it's just as wide. So our sections are going to be getting closer together a little more quickly. And what you'll notice is that your curve looks wider and more squashed together. That is because our plane of view has become more narrow. It's kind of like you're looking at something like this, and now you're looking at it like this. And then down here it's going to be the same thing, but it's going to be really, really narrow. And you're going to end up with this kind of a road right here. Hopefully you can see that. All right, so once you've had your practice there, then you're ready to make your project. So you're going to take a new sheet of paper, and you're going to choose your favorite. I liked kind of a middle of the way. It wasn't too high, it wasn't in the center of the page. I did about 1/3 of the page was where I put my horizon line. You are welcome to put yours wherever you like. It's just going to depend on whether you want to put more detail in your foreground or have more detail going on in your sky. So now I want you to take a new sheet of paper, mark your horizon, mark your vanishing point, draw your 3 lines, 1, 2, 3, then you're back to this step of the zigzags. Back and forth, curvy line. And then finally, you'll be erasing all of those lines. Actually what I did first, this would be helpful, is I went over the lines we wanted to keep with the permanent pen, then erase, and if it's permanent and you let it dry for just a few seconds, then you can erase right over the top and not lose your lines. And then let's see how you decorate it. Use your own imagination for what you want your foreground to look like. I've shown you an idea here with some trees, and you'll notice that the trees get smaller the farther away they get. Here's my biggest one right up in the foreground here. Well, I can't wait to see what you make, and I think that we'll have a way to post your photos, maybe to, maybe if you text them, we can post them. I'll have to get with Emily and figure out how we're going to do that. But I really want to see what you make and how you decorate yours and how you color it, if you have some color options available to you. If not, maybe you're adding some darks and lights with your pencil. Getting some contrast going between darks and lights, making interest in your page. All right. Happy first 1-point perspective drawing, and I can't wait to see it. I miss you guys. Bye-bye.